It's day 13 of the 12 days of BashMas. We've eaten too much turkey. We've cooked too much camembert, black garlic, cauliflower cheese melted in the oven. We put our Christmas dinners inside a giant Yorkshire pudding, which was a good idea at the time, but I haven't been able to move for 48 hours. Have we made any money on BashMas? Am I able to escape my family and go snowboarding down La Paz de Chavanette, the hardest, steepest, most difficult, mogliest ski run in Europe? Will I be there in 48 hours? Look, it's the day after Boxing Day. There are insane queues at Le Shutter at Folkestone. Am I going to be going down though or not? Let's just do a recap. So on day 12, I had 4 football coupons that covered Boxing Day and the 27th. Today is the 27th, and I've got one game to play, which is the Brighton versus Brentford game. Alexa, what is the Brighton versus Brentford score?
Today in the English Premier League, Brighton and Hove Albion and Brentford are tied 0-0.
No, not so much of a surprise, because it's only 4 minutes into the game. It's currently 34 minutes past 7. However, I wanted to do this video after the end of the game, because then I'd know the results. But I do have to leave for Folkestone before the end of the game. Does that mean that I've made money? Yes, it does. But how much money? Well, before day 12, we were sitting on £1,747 profit. And what happens after day 12 depends on the Brighton score, because I had 4 football coupons. Brighton featured in all 4 of them, and they actually have quite a significant effect on the outcome of this series, which is why I thought I'd record the video. I find it quite interesting, especially how these football coupons work. But just quickly to recap, I have been betting exclusively in shops, Betfred and William Hill. I could have used a Paddy Power if I wanted to, mixed it up, the Boyles. I've been doing golf bets, football coupons bets, and horse racing bets in shop. Also on the exchanges, I've been taking advantage of the value that I can find in the exchanges. A lot of football, a lot of darts, a lot of it comes in after team news. There's going to be one darts bet at the end of this I am going to finish with, because I also find that one interesting as well. If you like, a very last tip of BashMas, a present before we doff our caps and bow into 2025. But in these 4 coupons, 2 things happened here, really. First thing is that understanding the variance of these football coupons can be quite important, because you can often have full busts of the coupon. And when there's 7 teams and you're busting and you're busting and you're busting, it can feel difficult. It can feel that the edge isn't quite there. The edge is meant to be essentially chasing steamers. Anything over 91% is technically steamed in from its priced up position. You might want to argue that it has to get to 100% against fair odds before it can be plus EV, but there is something there about the team coming in and traveling in that direction that it probably surpasses 100% more often than not once it's reached 98, 99, and definitely when you've got a 108% team, you want to be compounding that as many times with teams, even if they're just slightly under 100, because it's the 108% EV you're looking for. So ideally, we're just trying to take the top 6, 7 steamers in every football coupon and place them into trebles or any kind of multiple to compound that. And that can sometimes mean, when we're placing multiple coupons, it takes me on to my second point. And that is that sometimes the same team can appear multiple times. A little bit the same as the same horse can appear multiple times in different multiples, lucky 15s, things like that. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to do that? Well, it depends on your personal risk profile, as long as you're staking reasonably. If you're staking on 1 football coupon and that is 1 unit stake and you bust that, then you're starting to get into trouble. Then don't put those teams into another coupon. You might have to create a whole brand new coupon with different teams. I might suggest that you're staking too high if you're doing that. I like to have teams. I've had a very good FA Cup 3rd round where I had the same teams but in multiple coupons, because essentially what I'm hoping for is that in one of those coupons, the steamers, they align, and I don't just get 2 or 3 or 4 winners in the coupon, but the magic 5, 6, 7 where the money comes from. And then that's why we get bust, 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 big win, bust, 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 and the long-term gains are attained from that synchronization, from that coupon that you found where the steamer synced up with the rest of the winners. So on this weekend's games, I'm going to give you the outcome of win and 2 more goals at William Hill. And that was with Brighton to play, loss, win, loss, loss, loss. So I'm placing trebles. So I haven't even got a treble. I've only got 2 wins so far. So it's a full bust of minus £140 so far. If Brighton happen to win, it's a single treble at pretty low odds. That coupon will be minus £119. Rubbish, eh? Similar teams, but in team to score 2 or more goals, that is with Brighton to play, 1-1, loss, loss, 1 loss. So we've got our treble there. It's currently returning minus £93. And if Brighton happen to score 2 or more goals, it will return plus £112. So over those 2 coupons, we'll still be down. Like minus £6. And if Brighton do not win and do not score 2 or more goals, we'll be down minus £250. Pretty brutal when the same teams are in those 2 games. But let's move over to Fred. We'll start with the long list with Brighton to play. Unfortunately, we've got a void in that game, but it's void 1-1 loss 1-1. That's starting to get a little bit more interesting. That's returning £127.85 profit at the moment in time. But in the 7th Heaven coupon, we have with Brighton to play lost 1-1, 1-1, 1. And in this coupon, we are returning £804.23 profit. And if Brighton win, it will be £1,372.48 profit. Now, Brighton are 60% to win this game. They're 52% to win it. And there'd be 2 or more goals in the match, which would be, all 4 coupons completing at that point. And if that happens, well, what if it doesn't happen? What if Brighton lose? That'll be £698 profit from those coupons. And that will mean that my overall profit loss from this series was £2,445.98. And if Brighton win 1-0, it'll be £3,259. And if Brighton win in any other scoreline, it'll be £3,487. So not quite Peking duck from day 6, but a good recovery from those days 7, 8, 9 losing days. That's a difference of £2,445 to £3,487. That's a difference of over £1,000. Over a third of my profits comes simply from Brighton this evening, who are better than a 50% chance to win, and there'd be 2 or more goals in the game. How nuts is that? How nuts is that I'm a coin flip by increasing my profits from £2,445 to £3,487. And that's the nature of this game. Easily could not happen, and I'm going to go snowboarding with £2,400. It easily could happen, and I'm going to go snowboarding with £3,400. Actually, what it shows is that these series, these 12 days, are still too reliant on short-term variance, short-term samples, short-term swings. I'm very sure the next one I'm due a loss. But either way, Series 1 and 2 will have culminated to over £10,000 in 37 days, which I'm very, very happy with. And it just shows the sort of potential and the prospect that is out there with reasonable value betting at reasonable stakes. Most people, that have been building up a bankroll over time might be able to get together in a team with other people if they're staking a little bit slower and afford a £3 lucky 15. And if you can't, if it's a £1 or a 50p lucky 15, that would still be a third of these profits or a sixth of these profits. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. Whatever it is, I'm between £2,400 and £3,487 profit. The last gift I have of this BashMas series is a bet that's out there just now that has not had that much traded on it, but I'm going to go in there and take quite a little bit, I think. So it's Luke Humphries versus Nick Kenny, and over 137.5 highest checkout score. Now, I could dig into the data for Luke Humphries, have a look at his expected number of legs, have a look at the number of times he checks out over 137.5, turns that into probabilities, so forth and so on. But you're kind of reliant on my data set, things like that. I'm just going to go over and use something that is new now in the X180s tool. We've brought in match checkout and player checkout, higher checkout lanes. And here's the thing about over 137.5. I don't have this line. I don't have every line in my database. What I do have is I have over 129.5 and I've got over 139.5. Wouldn't it be great if these were in order? I might ask IT to do that, but forget that just now. So what this means is I've got a lower bound and an upper bound of what this bet should be in terms of the odds. I have no idea whether this is boosted. However, what I can see is that over 139.5, which is so close to 137.5, the only checkout that would make a difference between this line and 137.5 is 138, exactly 138. But that should be fair odds of 3.08. And the lower bound, over 129.5, should be fair odds of 2.28. And just now, the exchange is trading at back 2.12, lay 2.24. And even at 2.24, I don't think like 129.5 should be lower, should be around about 2.24, if that makes sense to you. It's a very, very low price that's on the exchange. And it's a super lay. It's a really, really good lay. I don't know how big. I suspect the fair odds of 137.5 are around about 2 to 1, maybe 2.98, 2.96, something like that. It could be 3.00. So the ability to lay that at 2.24 is pretty big. In fact, how big is that? Because we've got to do our nifty little different mathematics when we do lays EV. So let me just bring that up. That would be, let's just call it 3. Should we call it 3? Yeah, 120% lay, which is really, really big EV on the exchange. Plenty of liquidity going at 2.24, 2.32, 2.4. I would be laying all of that. So Merry Christmas to you. And I'll see what I can do about sending some footage from the Swiss wall in the next couple of days.